Hi there. Despite a bit like a piece of Red Sea, it's very interesting to see Bitcoin Cash continue with the battle between the bulls and bears for the past 2 weeks, and currently is still staying at a stage or a level that most of the other altcoins has failed to defend. So let's take a look at the weekly and daily charts and see from the Wyckoff lens where Bitcoin Cash is at and where it's heading to. If you're new to my sessions, here are the 3 key points that I'll cover throughout my session. Let's start with the weekly chart. So we understand that Bitcoin Cash is within its distribution cycle. It hasn't fully returned to an accumulation since the drop back in October. Starting from October, it started the decline. It's got multiple LPSYs. We're seeing another one. This question mark, I haven't removed it yet because this peak is still being developed. So there's still 2 days and 6 hours for this week's candle. And I just want to see whether this fight, you see this narrow or very short candlestick body, is this going to last, or is it going to turn into a cross? Okay? So after that, if the macro trend continues, the sign of weakness is naturally the next to appear. But there's also one possibility, is that there's no more sign of weakness, meaning it can go straight into preliminary support. Because the assumption of this is if there's sign of weakness, there is likely going to be another LPSY, which is one of the possible scenario before going to the preliminary support. Okay, the thing I said just now is that there's no more rebound even when the price hits the orange key level of 450. It goes straight down to challenge the 380 red key level, and that's where I would consider it officially entering the accumulation cycle. Alright, because when I look to the left, just February this year as well as July 2024. Those 2 times, the preliminary support sits right above the red key level of 380. Okay, so if I pull this up over here, that's the PS. All right, and not this. Over here, that's another one. We'll get 2 accumulation within this 1 year time 1 year and a half time period. That mega one during 2002-2003. It's a deeper reference when this eventually comes down. All right, because if it really enters the PS area, we don't know how deep the selling climax would eventually be. I have drawn this box, this downward channel, this pink downward channel. And we see the previous lows, the selling climax, second test, and the spring, all dipped to one lower level than the other. Likewise for the peaks, one lower than the other. This one was particularly low as well, back in December 2024. So that's why for many sessions, even a month or 2 ago, I already shared for Bitcoin Cash, my worry is that these lower and lower peaks, if it becomes a long-term trend, then that means your maximum return. Okay, let's say if you get in from the very bottom and get out from the very top, when the top gets lower, and assuming the low doesn't get lower, okay, it flattens along this long-term trade ground zone bottom. Let's say every time it is like that, okay, then you see you have a declining return. Okay, that's my worry that I've been sharing for 2-3 months. So this big picture, while we still hope to see a second test at least that comes back to challenge the green key level of 615, it remains a lower chance. The higher chance goes to the preliminary support, but for Bitcoin Cash, the funny part or the interesting part is that it's staying at the current level for over a month already. It just refused to come down. I'm not sure whether this is because of Bitcoin. It's kind of affecting Bitcoin Cash. As Bitcoin is still within a late stage distribution, or mid-late stage, let's put it this way. Likewise for Bitcoin Cash. If they are going more in sync, or if they're more correlated compared to the other altcoins to Bitcoin, then that explains why that Bitcoin Cash refused to go down. Okay, so let's take a look at the daily chart. So previously we asked, would that be another FPSY that confirmed that there are actually multiple peaks over there. Okay, it's just very noisy in the daily chart. And then, sign of weakness. Today it tested that level. Okay, like what happened just 2 weeks ago, and also back in late October. So I would say this has pretty much touched or arrived the sign of weakness level. Just whether we would have another one, or is it like it's described, it's going to come down and go straight to the preliminary support. Because currently, if you look at the past 14 days since November 7th, multiple days has tested this yellow key level of 530, I believe. Yes, that's 530. And every time they failed to get past the line, or at least close above the line. Okay, 3 days ago it successfully went above, but then got heavily rejected back to a level somewhere near this blue dash line. That's around the range where the previous PSY stage was. That's June this year. Okay, so when the trade gets along to the right hand side, continue to be suppressed by this blue ceiling. If that's the case, let me extend the box. It's going to continue to trade within this, not this pen, continue to trade within this triangle up till the point near the end of this year. Okay, if it continues to trade like this, then it means, one, it finds support at the orange key level of around $450. And two, if that's the case, that's going to be more likely for it to break outside of this downward channel that started in mid-July. Not mid-July, it's mid-September. Okay? Right over there. So when that happens, when it breaks outside of it, that means it's telling us, okay, this current downtrend is going to be over. This 2 months, or like slightly more than 2 months downtrend is going to finish. And whether or not it's going to develop into another new downtrend, a more gradual one, or is it going to completely trade sideways for a while before it comes back to challenge the higher levels to show us another, because in the daily there's still a chance for this one, so another peak, let's put it this way, or another climax, or just simply put, another test. Alright, so that's a lower chance but still possible. The higher chance coming back down to accumulation. I already mentioned, like, spring this year, there was one. In August 2024, there was another one. So both times, both accumulation, we don't even have to go back to 2002, 2003. These two times were both below the 380 red key level. Alright, so this trend, if it really continues towards south, then sooner or later, somewhere when we get closer to December, this is going to get into this range. Because if it is suppressed by this blue line, and the orange has failed to provide support, then by this, when we get near the end of the year, over here, December 30th, roughly, it has to pass this point. meaning getting into the area between the 380 and 450. Okay, that's when similar thing happened back in a few months back. Okay, so Bitcoin Cash is still enjoying a bit of longer sideways trading than expected, along this line. Is it the same as in the past? Let's do a quick check. I'm interested to know. Let's use this. Alright, so last time when Bitcoin has its peak, they look kind of in sync. Look at, I'm not saying the magnitude of the peak, but the period of the distribution cycle. Alright, Bitcoin Cash stay inside the distribution as long as Bitcoin. This time, Bitcoin Cash, when Bitcoin gets into distribution and now coming back down, Bitcoin Cash exhibits similar behavior. It's not re-entering accumulation. It's going kind of in sync with Bitcoin staying in the distribution zone. This time, over here, back in 2017-18, that was completely different. But after that, since 2020, they look like they are synchronized in a certain way through the Wyckoff lens. Alright, so that's probably something interesting to know if that's new to you. I believe some people has figured this out already during the last cycle. Alright, so